When you have that guy that's your starter, right, yes, you can start to prop him up. You can also manipulate practice a little bit to prop him up. And that's what you should do.
If they truly believe it's going to be Deshaun Watson, you need to get the pro Shedeur crowd to accept it and understand it because they're going to be upset.
Who's the better quarterback? Deshaun Watson is the better quarterback.
Well, once upon a time he was.
Right now.
The Cleveland Browns have spent years searching for one thing that most successful NFL franchises take for granted: stability at quarterback. Coaches have changed, offensive systems have changed, expectations have changed, but the question remains exactly the same. Who is going to lead this football team when the season starts? And now, as another offseason unfolds, that question has become even more complicated. Because while the organization continues to evaluate its options, all eyes remain on one player, Deshaun Watson, the quarterback who was once considered one of the most dangerous players in football, the quarterback who arrived in Cleveland carrying franchise-altering expectations, the quarterback who, years later, is still trying to prove he can become the answer the Browns thought they were getting. What's fascinating is that this isn't just a football story anymore. It's a story about redemption, expectations, pressure, and time running out. Every throw Watson makes during OTAs is being analyzed. Every rep is being scrutinized. Every positive report creates optimism. Every mistake creates doubt. And that's because everyone understands what's at stake. If Watson can somehow return to even a fraction of the player he once was, Cleveland's entire outlook changes. If he can't, the Browns may once again find themselves searching for another solution.
Who's the better quarterback? Deshaun Watson is the better quarterback.
Well, once upon a time he was.
Right now. We've seen Shedeur throw 10 interceptions.
Shedeur made some bad decisions last year, no doubt. But I can't put all of that on Shedeur. You can't just look at the numbers and not look at the tape and say, all right, this ball was tipped. The guy ran the wrong route. The guy cut the route early.
The latest discussions surrounding the Browns' quarterback room became even more interesting when head coach Todd Monken addressed the competition. Reporters asked him about the timeline for naming a starter, and his response was revealing. Monken made it clear that nothing has fundamentally changed. The competition remains ongoing. Reps will continue to be distributed, evaluations will continue. The best player will ultimately earn the job. It was a straightforward answer, but hidden inside that answer was something important. The Browns aren't rushing this process. At the same time, Monken acknowledged a reality that every coach understands. Ideally, you want your starting quarterback identified as early as possible. The reason is simple. Once you know who your starter is, you can begin building everything around him. The offense becomes tailored to his strengths, chemistry develops faster, leadership becomes more established. Every first-team rep becomes an investment in preparing that quarterback for Week 1.
Yeah, look, they're stuck with Deshaun Watson. If they cut him, they take a catastrophic cap charge. He's on the team. You may as well have him around. It's not the same as Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think he's a distraction because he's been around.
Right.
He's been there for 4 years, and he hasn't done anything except for that one moment in 2023. We were talking about this, or I was talking with ESPN Cleveland about this yesterday. They had that win like 39-38 over the Ravens.
And he kind of felt like, here we go.
And then we find out 2 days later he's got a broken shoulder and he's done for the year. And that led to the Joe Flacco thing.
That's why quarterback competitions can become tricky. On one hand, competition creates accountability. On the other hand, prolonged uncertainty can slow development. Every rep given to one quarterback is a rep not given to another. Every practice divided equally means fewer opportunities for one player to fully establish himself as the leader of the offense. Monken understands that balance better than most coaches. The goal appears obvious. Cleveland wants clarity before the regular season arrives. Monken even suggested that the team will have its quarterback situation settled by the time Jacksonville arrives on the schedule. That doesn't necessarily mean an announcement is coming tomorrow. It simply means the Browns recognize the importance of entering the season with a clear direction. And that's where Deshaun Watson enters the conversation. Despite all the debates surrounding the quarterback room, despite all the excitement generated by younger players, Watson remains the central figure. The reason is obvious. The Browns don't need Watson to be average. They need him to become something much closer to the quarterback he once was.
Well, and hey, the reality is Deshaun Watson is still on a team mainly because of the cap havoc that cutting him would have created.
Yeah.
But you get a clean slate. You got a new coaching staff. You have a guy who just is very pragmatic and wants to win. Todd Monken wants to win. He's going to put the best players on the field in an effort to win as many games as possible. And what a redemption story it would be if this clean slate includes Todd Monken pressing the right buttons on Deshaun Watson to get him to play like he did. It's now been 6 years since we've seen it.
That's a difficult challenge, because the version of Watson that dominated headlines years ago feels almost like a different player. There was a time when he was universally viewed as one of the elite quarterbacks in football. Defenses feared him. Opposing coaches struggled to contain him. He possessed the rare ability to create explosive plays even when everything around him broke down. Back in Houston, Watson wasn't simply putting up respectable numbers, he was carrying football teams. He threw for nearly 5,000 yards in one season. He consistently extended plays. He transformed broken situations into highlights. More importantly, he gave his team a chance every time he stepped onto the field. That's why multiple franchises aggressively pursued him when he became available. The league viewed him as a franchise quarterback. Fast forward to today, and the conversation sounds very different. Instead of discussing MVP potential, people are discussing whether he can stabilize a roster. Instead of debating whether he's elite, people are debating whether he's still capable of being effective. That's a massive shift in perception.
Deshaun is the most polished player to put in that position right now. Succeed or fail.
You don't know he can do it, though.
You do know he can do it.
How?
Give him an opportunity, because he's
You ain't
done
seen
it.
him do it in 5 years.
5 years.
The last person I seen do it was Shedeur.
Shedeur could have been better last year, absolutely.
Monken appears to believe there are still real reasons for optimism. During recent comments, he pointed to one area that has stood out during off-season practices: Watson's athleticism. According to Monken, that trait remains very much alive, despite the injuries, despite the setbacks, despite the years of inconsistency. The movement skills are still there. And if Cleveland can tap back into that aspect of his game, it could change this offense significantly. But confidence alone will not solve everything. Production still matters, results still matter, and Cleveland's fan base has been down this road before. Every offseason produces encouraging headlines. Every spring brings reports of improved mechanics and renewed focus. Yet when meaningful games arrive, those positive developments have not consistently translated into wins. That history makes many fans deeply skeptical. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Shedeur Sanders has become impossible to ignore. Monken even acknowledged his progress directly. He noted the rookie has come a long way in processing information, working through progressions, and understanding offensive concepts. That is significant praise from a coach known for demanding excellence. And every strong practice from Sanders creates additional scrutiny on Watson. Every positive report fuels more debate. That is simply how quarterback competitions work. This is where it gets dangerous. Once fans believe there is another option, patience disappears fast. Every incompletion gets magnified. Every stalled drive becomes a reason for criticism. Watson does not just have to perform. He has to perform while knowing an entire fan base is evaluating every single throw against a younger alternative. That is not an easy environment for any quarterback. The broader question is impossible to escape. If Watson truly still possesses the athleticism and playmaking ability that once made him one of the NFL's most feared quarterbacks, can Monken unlock it before it is too late? Because if Watson succeeds, the Browns may finally solve the problem that has haunted them for decades. But if he fails, the pressure to hand the future to Shedeur Sanders will not just grow, it will become impossible to resist.